Every empire believes its money will never lose value. Every government insists that its promises will last forever. But history proves every time that it's an illusion. From Rome to France, from America to Lebanon, people have woken up at sunrise only to realize this. The money they saved over a lifetime has melted away. Salaries are worthless. The future, uncertain. And in that moment you see how fragile everything truly is. Because collapse is not unexpected. It is, in fact, the rule. The real question is not whether the financial system will collapse. Of course it will. The question is, when it does, how will you stay standing? We often look at the numbers in our bank account, at the cash in our hands, and tell ourselves, I'm safe. But money is not stone. Money is only trust. And trust can crumble in a single day. History shows us both its faces, its cruelty and its wisdom. Because every collapse leaves a lesson, it shows what truly protects wealth and what turns to dust. And if you look closely, you'll see the winners were never those who trusted most, but those who doubted first. Take Byzantium, for example, that Eastern empire that survived 1,000 years after Rome's fall. They had a gold coin called the solidus, so stable that everyone from Europe to Asia accepted it. It was the dollar of its age. But over the years they made the same mistake. They tainted their gold, mixing it with cheaper metals, reducing its purity. At first no one noticed, but eventually the wall of trust collapsed. That coin, once the backbone of Mediterranean trade, became just another piece of worthless metal. Debasement shattered the economy. Who survived? Those who trusted not in banks but in pure gold, those who owned land and real assets. Because when the state corrupts its money, value escapes the system. Yet not every downfall is born from political mistakes. Sometimes it falls from the sky. Take the Black Death. Between 1347 and 1351, nearly half of Europe vanished. It was devastating. Yet strangely for some it became an opportunity, because the labor force collapsed. Those who survived suddenly became valuable. They could demand higher wages. With so few workers left, fields lay empty, and goods lost value. Anyone with a little silver or skilled hands suddenly had power. Sound familiar? Think of COVID. Supply chains broke. Governments printed trillions. And in the end, who came out ahead? Those with cash, with property, with real assets. And who lost? The millions living paycheck to paycheck, just like before. History doesn't repeat, but it always rhymes. During the Renaissance, Florence was Europe's financial center. Great banks like Bardi and Peruzzi lent fortunes to the King of England. When he failed to repay, the banks collapsed. Deposits vanished, trade froze, and the city fell into chaos. And people realized something timeless. There's no such thing as too big to fail. That same lie lives on today. In 2008 with Lehman Brothers, in 2019 with the banks of Lebanon. Every time the same story. Then came the American Civil War. On one side, greenbacks, on the other, graybacks. Both sides printed money. At first it seemed to work, but eventually inflation crushed everyone. In the South, people's wages lost value before they could even spend them. Families carried stacks of bills just to buy a loaf of bread. The result? Once again the same lesson. Real value is not on paper. It's in your hands, in gold, in land, in food. France learned it too. Revolutionaries seized church lands and printed a new currency, the assignat. They said, this time it will be different. But it wasn't. The more they printed, the faster it lost value. In the end, no one wanted it. Farmers refused to trade for paper. They demanded goods instead. Bread riots erupted. Once again, paper became worthless and real assets became priceless. More recently, The 1997 Asian crisis, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, South Korea, all of them chained to the dollar. When their currencies collapsed, their debts doubled overnight. Unemployment soared. Companies fell. The IMF arrived. And again the same truth. If you depend on someone else's money, you'll be the first to fall. Now our own time, Lebanon, 2019. Banks shut their doors. People woke up to find their accounts frozen, a lifetime of savings erased overnight. Anyone who kept their wealth in the bank lost everything. Only those who moved early, who held gold, property, or foreign assets, escaped. Sound familiar? 2008, 2020, 2023. The same pattern. The system tells you that you're safe, until one day, the doors close. So what should your next step be? History doesn't offer a single answer. In Byzantium, it was gold. During the Black Death, it was cash. In Florence, it was mistrust of big banks. In the Confederacy, it was food. In France, it was property. In Asia, it was staying out of debt. In Lebanon, it was acting early. But the mindset was always the same. The survivors were not the blind believers. They were the ones who knew where real value lived. Collapse can bring ruin. But for the prepared, it brings opportunity. It always has. After the Black Death, peasants became landowners. After 2008, those with liquidity bought homes for pennies on the dollar. Sometimes being prepared doesn't just protect you. It positions you to seize the moment. But strength isn't only about what you own. It's about what you can do. Because even in collapse, people still need food, shelter, and trade. And the one who provides those things is never poor for long. True security doesn't come from faith in the state or in banks. True security comes from value, skill, and awareness. Every collapse is a shift from belief to doubt, from paper to the tangible, from passive to active. History has shown this again and again. So the question isn't, will everything fall? Of course it will. The question is, do you live by promises, or do you hold something real? History cannot be reversed, but it always leaves a trail. Ignore it, and it will crush you. If this helped you see from a new perspective, subscribe. Because the answers you seek are hidden in history. I'm just here to show you where to look.